Hey guys, it's Mr. Walker here, and welcome to another math lesson with Mr. Walker. It's good to be back talking to you guys about volume once again. And we all know that volume means that we're going to be pump up the volume, pump up the volume, pump up the volume, dance. No, not that kind of volume. We're not pumping up any volume here as far as rocking out, although Mr. Walker does like to cut loose and rock out every once in a while and crank the volume up. Today we're going to be talking about volume again, as in the amount of space that a three-dimensional object takes up, right? So we've been working currently with like rectangular prisms, right, and cubes and things like that, and we've been determining the volume of them based on cubic centimeters and just how many like cubes we can fit inside these different shapes. Well, today we're going to be actually taking some rectangular prisms and we're going to be composing them and decomposing them using layers. So that means that we're going to like kind of break apart these shapes and look at the different ways that we can identify some layers within them and how we can build them to identify those layers as well. That's what the composing part of it is. So you don't need too much today. You need something to write on, something to write with, obviously. And then if you do have some cubes to work with, whether they're centimeter cubes or connecting cubes or something like that, that are all the same shape, if you have those, you can work with them. And then also there's kind of a template here, a recording sheet that we're going to be working with as well. So if you have those things, gather them up, get them ready to go, and then click continue and we'll keep working. Alright guys, so I have some cubes here ready to go, and these are all cubic centimeters, okay? So they measure a centimeter by a centimeter by a centimeter. So we know that they take up 1 cubic centimeter, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by building with these cubes, and I'm going to build a rectangular prism here, or at least start to build one, using 4 cubes, okay? So I'm going to do 1, 2, so I have 2 like on the bottom layer here, and then I'm going to put 2 more on top. And so I kind of have like a 2 by 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 cubic centimeters here, right? And I have, just stacked 2 on top of another 2. So again, the volume of this rectangular prism here would be 4 cubic centimeters because I have 1, 2, 3, 4 cubic centimeters in there. So I'm going to add another layer of cubes next to this and kind of expand this a little bit. So let's say now let's grab some red ones here. And I'm just going to put them next to it, like so. So now I have my 4 blue cubes that I started with here, and I put my 4 red ones right here. So what is the volume of this now? Right, 8 cubic centimeters, right? Because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 cubic centimeters, okay? So far, that's the shape, the rectangular prism that I have. It has a volume of 8 cubic centimeters. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add another one of these layers of 4. I'm actually going to add 3 more layers of 4. So I'm going to go ahead and build that real quick. If you guys have your cubes with you now and you're trying that out, go ahead and build yours as well. Add 3 more layers of 4 cubic centimeters, okay? Try that out, and then let's compare what we have. Alright, perfect. So I started with my 2 stacks of 4 cubic centimeters, right? So I had 4 cubic centimeters here in blue, I had 4 cubic centimeters here in red. And what I did was I added on 3 more layers basically over those 4 cubic centimeters. So what is going to be the volume now of this whole cubic centimeter that I made, since I've added 4 cubic centimeters to each one of these layers, stuck all those layers together? What's my volume of this cubic centimeter? What's it going to be now? Alright, awesome. How did you figure that out? What strategy did you use to figure that out? Alright, well, there's a couple different ways we actually could have done this, right? There's a variety of ways. And one would have been to think about, okay, well, here we had 8, right? And then we did 4 more here, and 4 more here, and then 4 more here, which would have been a total of 12. We could have done 8 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, or 12 plus 8. Either way, that would have given us 20. Some of you might have counted it across that way. Some of you might have gone, okay, well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across the bottom. We got 2 deep. So that would be 10 on each layer. So like this layer here would be 10. And then this layer here would be 10. And then that would give me 20. Either way is totally right. Even if you were to do 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, that would have gotten you there as well. So there's not really a right or wrong way to do it, as long as you're, finding the volume, of course. But there's a couple different strategies that you knew you could use to figure that out. So let's think about this for a second. Let's think about the way that we made the layers, right, in this shape. So I just put a blank kind of rectangular prism down here just to kind of mimic what we had up here. But we split this into like 5 kind of layers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's each one of those colors is representing a different layer. So if I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have my 5 layers here. I know they're not exactly even there, but you kind of get the idea. And each one of those layers had 4, right? 4 and 4, 4, 4, and 4. So if we added all of those up, 4 cubic centimeters plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, we're going to get 20 centimeters cubed, right? 20 cubic centimeters. So let's bring in a table real quick. I'm going to bring in this table real quick to kind of outline our thought process so far. So we'll say that we had 5 layers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. And the number of cubes in each layer was 4. So when we do 5 4 times, or we do 4 5 times, we're going to get 20, right? 20 centimeters cubed. Now, this way we kind of partition them like vertically, right? We made the slices vertically, if you will, kind of like a loaf of bread, right? When you cut the cut it into slices, it's kind of like what we did here. But what if we were to go horizontally? What if we were going to cut this into cubic centimeters and cut it like a cake, like layers in a cake or something like that? What would that look like? Well, again, we'd kind of be doing like we did here, right? And I would be making a cut right along this way, and this would be 10 centimeters cubed down here, 10 centimeters cubed up here. 10 plus 10 would give me 20. So I would have two layers with 10 in each layer. 2 times 10 would still be 20. So I'm still getting the 20 cubic centimeters. I'm just kind of splitting it up in a different way. There's actually one more way we could split this up. Can you guys think of another way that we could kind of split this up to show different layers, or different ways that we could split this into those cubic centimeters? Yeah, I could kind of split it like basically down the middle here. Okay, so that would mean I would have 10 on this side, and I would have 10 on this side. 10 and 10 would make those 20. So I would say that I had 2 layers, 10 in each layer, which would be 20 cubic centimeters. So basically we're splitting it kind of front to back, right? Like well, I know it's not round like a bagel, but if it was a bagel and you split it down the middle there. If I were to illustrate this in the colors, let's see if we could do that real quick. So basically if I was illustrating this color-wise, now I'd have 10 here in the front, these yellow ones, and then the 10 in the back would be the green ones. Okay, so you can kind of see that, we're splitting this shape into its cubic centimeters. We're splitting it a couple different ways, but we're still getting the same volume. Okay, so just to kind of illustrate like the different ways that we can build these shapes, or how they can be decomposed or composed, or different things like that. So it's kind of cool in that way. Let's take a look at another one. Alright guys, this time we're going to take a look at a prism, rectangular prism. We're going to make it 3 by 4 by 5. So it's going to be 3 cubic centimeters by 4 cubic centimeters by 5 cubic centimeters. So I want you to think about that for a second, and think about how you might draw that or create that, or what that prism might look like. Okay, go ahead and do that. I'm going to draw mine up here, and then we will compare. Alright, so I'm just going to draw this one this time instead of making it out with the cubes here. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 this way. I'm going to do 4 back, 1, 2, 3, 4 back, and I'm going to go 5 up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're kind of getting this cube in the shape here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even though my lines aren't totally straight, but you kind of get the idea. Alright, so here's my rockin' rectangular prism. Now you could have gone different ways with this. Yours might look a little bit different here or there, but it shouldn't really matter because our volume should be the same no matter which way this shape works out, because we're dealing with the same dimensions, we're dealing with the same cubic centimeters. Now, if you didn't draw a rectangular prism, if you just tried to stack them up in different ways, well, that's going to be different. But we wanted to make them 3 by 4 by 5, so that's exactly what I did here. So let's imagine now what the rest of this cube would kind of look like, or this rectangular prism, if I were to draw it in, right? So we would have these guys here, this guy here. Now I realize my lines aren't like perfectly straight here, and it almost kind of makes me dizzy a little bit, but I'm doing the best I can, right? Doing the best I can. So thinking about this, looking at like the bottom or the top of this, what would one layer of this rectangular prism kind of look like? Like what would the bottom layer of this rectangular prism look like? That's right, there would be 3 rows with 4 cubes in each row. So think of it this way, 3 rows with 4 cubes in each row. So here's like 1 row, 2 row, and 3 rows, and in each row there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's kind of start to fill out this chart down here a little bit, where we can basically say that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's going to be 12 cubes in each layer. But how many layers would we have if we did it that way? Well, we would have 1 layer, 2 layers, 3 layers, 4 layers, 5 layers. We would have 5 layers with 12 in each row, which 5 times 12 would be 60 cubic centimeters, okay? So that's if we kind of split it, let's say, this way, right? So we kind of took like that layer there, and then this layer here, this layer here, and this layer here. So we would basically have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers with 12 cubes in each layer. 5 layers, 12 cubes in each layer. That would get us 60, right? So that's one way we could do it. Another way we could think of it is, well, if we kind of get a different color going here, if we kind of split it this way, right? So that would be a layer, this would be a layer, this would be a layer. So again, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4 layers. How much would be in each layer? Let's see. If we took a look at just this one layer right here, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we would have 15 in each layer. We would have 4 layers. 4 times 15, that would be 60. It would be the same thing, okay? So we would have 15 here, we would have 15 here, basically 15 here, 15 here, 15 here, 15 there. That would give us a total of 60. There is another way we could do this. I want you guys to think about that for a second and see if you could tell me what you think that is. Awesome. So we could split it. Let's see. How can we illustrate this here? We could split it basically this way. So this would be a layer. A layer there in the middle and a layer there at the end. So let's count up these and see. I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I would have 20 cubes in one layer, but I would have 1, 2, 3 layers. So 3 layers with 20 in each layer. Well, 20, 40, 60. There we go. So we'd be able to tell that way as well. So there's different ways that we could definitely split up these cubes, different things we could do with them. So hopefully this is making some sense. You guys are going to practice with this a little bit today. You'll be taking a look at some rectangular prisms that already have the cubes kind of separated this way. Some of them, though, will be blank. Okay, so you'll have to figure out what each layer is going to look like and fill in the rest there. But it's just kind of a way to really visualize how those pieces are fitting together and how they can be arranged or rearranged or composed or decomposed. But you're always going to get that same volume, okay? No matter how you stack it. No matter how you stack it, you're still going to get that same volume. So please reach out if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns. Thank you guys very much for watching along and for playing along with me. I appreciate all your hard work, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.